Hello there. So this video is on the back of my last video, which talked about the success of a wonderful woman called Yvonne in Newcastle County Court, where the judge acknowledged her as a living woman of flesh and blood. Been quite a bit of confusion, been quite a bit of negativity, so I would like to address that here. Just for clarity, this is not about a man being a woman or a woman being a man. It's got absolutely nothing to do with that. Those of us that have been into court and have had to do a hell of a lot of research into our actual law, not the BS legal system that pretends to be law, i.e. especially the lower courts, magistrates and county, which are administration courts. They are banks, and a judge is a banker. That's as simple as it gets. So if you are aware of the birth certificate and the straw man, the birth certificate, we are all forced to register our babies at birth, and that birth certificate then represents your what is known as your straw man or your personam, and it's the all caps name. So when you get your bills coming through the letterbox from council, from energy, from mortgage, from wherever, it usually has all caps on there. So it's addressed to your legal fiction, which is a dead entity, which is a corporation represented by your birth certificate. The birth certificate, if you read it, says cannot be used for identification purposes, which is a bit weird. And it also says copyrighted to the Crown. So that birth certificate, that legal dead entity of a name, is registered to the Crown. It's not ours. It doesn't belong to us. And actually, if you want to get into the deep and dark of it all, we're all acting in fraud because that isn't us. So every time we respond or pay our bills through that all caps version, we are in fraud. I didn't really want to get into it that deep today, but there you go. And so when you go into a court, that's what they're dealing with. They just want to deal with the dead entity, the all caps version that is on your bill, on your birth certificate. They cannot see a living man or woman in front of them because that is not the jurisdiction of a county or magistrate's court. So when Yvonne stood, did her statement of truth, and said she is a living woman of flesh and blood, she was basically saying, I am not my birth certificate, I am not the dead entity, I am not the corporation, I am a living woman. Here's the thing, guys, you can't, a corporation, because that particular one was Northumbrian Water, there is no man or woman putting that claim in. It just comes from Northumbrian Water versus Yvonne. You can't have a corporation versus a living person, not a person, a living man or woman. It just doesn't work. The only way it would work is consensual terms. So basically, because the judge recognised and put it on the record that she saw before her a living woman of flesh and blood, she then went on to say that she saw other people in the court that were living of flesh and blood. She was acknowledging the fact that those people did not stand in the jurisdiction of the county court. Huge. So for the people that have been slagging this, really disrespectful, clearly have never been in a court, have no idea what they're talking about. And do you know what really pisses me off? It's been so rife over the last 5 years. People in the truth movement, betterment movement, call it what you want. People that claim to be spiritual, claim to be awake. And yet, when it comes to something like this, because they don't understand it, and they're maybe reading somebody else's comments and then wading in, that is not what this movement is all about. That is not how this how we are going to create solutions going forwards where people can actually live, you know, a peaceful and harmonious life, because that's all we want. We want to be left the fuck alone, to get on with our lives, to eat healthily, and to not be poisoned every which way we turn in our life. And then you've got people that claim to be in the movement, claim to be spiritual, and all they're interested in is slagging people off. It's bollocks, mate. Absolute bollocks. If you've never been in the court, you haven't got a clue. The judge hugging Yvonne, unheard of. Again, if you've never been in the court by yourself to represent yourself or represent yourself, you ain't got a clue. So I just wanted to put that out there, A, for clarity of why this is so big, because Yvonne, standing in her own jurisdiction of the living woman, created a gap between her jurisdiction and the jurisdiction of the court. Gap jurisdiction. There's no bridge between those two things. So even though the judge admitted, I still have to be within my jurisdiction to, and so therefore I have to award costs, even though she reduced it down, she knew full well that Yvonne won't be paying them anyway, because Yvonne doesn't stand in that jurisdiction, so it's irrelevant. So she didn't lose the case like everybody keeps banging on about. The legal fiction was awarded the case. Awarded the costs. Yvonne isn't the legal fiction, and that was acknowledged, put on record in the court by the district judge. Video over for today. I hope that makes it a bit clearer for people that didn't really understand what the significance of this is. And for those of you that have been just jumping on the bandwagon and slating, shame on you. Oh yeah, I remembered the other bit. So there's been a load of people, you know, requesting case number and case law and this, that and the other. We never said it was case law. And I'm pretty sure we said in the podcast, and if we didn't, then it was an error, that she hadn't even had the court order through yet. It was on the 6th of August. So we didn't know what that order said. So people jumping on this, what's the case number? Well, it's not case law, what a load of bollocks, this, that and the other. We never said that. That's just people jumping the gun or not really knowing what they're talking about. Oh yeah. And as for this is a fucking psyop, get a life.